Good morning, boys and girls. It's good to see you again. It's Friday. I do have one more Read Aloud for you today, and I thought I would read the second story today in the Frog and Toad Are Friends books. Yesterday we met Frog and Toad when we read the first chapter, the first short story, which was called Spring. I hope you were able to get outside yesterday and look for some signs of spring around your house or maybe around your neighborhood. We went for a little walk and saw a lot of things, a lot of flowers starting to come out and bushes and trees starting to get their leaves on them. So that was really nice to see. I hope you enjoyed the storm last night. I had to sleep out here in the living room with my dog because my dog was really scared. So I did not get a whole lot of sleep last night. But he was really sweet, so I had to do it. So today we are going to read, like I said, the second story. Oh yeah, that was the part where Frog tricked Toad by thinking it was April by tearing the calendar pages off. Or no, he tricked him into thinking it was May so that Toad would get up and get out of bed. And we learned that Toad was a little grumpy, so I wonder if he's going to be grumpy in this story too. And this chapter is called The Story. One day in summer, Frog was not feeling well. Toad said, "Frog, you are looking quite green." She's a frog. "But I always look green," said Frog. "I am a frog." "Today you look very green, even for a frog," said Toad. "Get into my bed and rest." Toad made Frog a cup of hot tea. Frog drank the tea, and then he said, "Tell me a story while I am resting." "All right," said Toad. "Let me think of a story to tell you." Toad thought, and he thought, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. "I will go out on the front porch and walk up and down," said Toad. "Perhaps that will help me to think of a story." Toad walked up and down on the porch for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad went into the house and stood on his head. Hey, we've never tried that before in our classroom, have we? To come up with ideas for a story. I wonder if that would actually work. "Why are you standing on your head?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I stand on my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. Toad stood on his head for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad poured a glass of water over his head. "Why are you pouring water over your head?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I pour water over my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. "Yeah, let's not try that one either. I don't think that'll work." Toad poured many glasses of water over his head, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. I guess if you want to try it, go for it, but do it outside or maybe in the shower or the tub. Then Toad began to bang his head against the wall. Okay, definitely don't do that one. "Why are you banging your head against the wall?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I bang my head against the wall hard enough, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. "Well, I'm feeling much better now, Toad," said Frog. "I do not think I need a story anymore." "Then you get out of bed, and let me get into it," said Toad, "because now I feel terrible." Frog said, "Would you like me to tell you a story, Toad?" "Yes," said Toad, "if you know one." Oh, great. I wonder if we're going to have to go through all this all over again with Frog. "Once upon a time," said Frog, "there were two good friends, a frog and a toad. The frog was not feeling well. He asked his friend the toad to tell him a story. The toad could not think of a story. He walked up and down on the porch, but he could not think of a story. He stood on his head, but he could not think of a story." I see what he's doing here. Do you see what he's doing here? He's telling what just happened. How smart. He poured water over his head, but he could not think of a story. He banged his head against the wall, but he could not think of a story. You know what's going to happen next? I bet you remember if you think about the story that we just read, what Toad just did. "Then," said Frog, "the toad did not feel so well, and the frog was feeling better. So the toad went to bed, and the frog got up and told him a story." The end. "How was that, Toad?" said Frog. But Toad did not answer. He had fallen asleep. Isn't that so smart of Frog? He just basically retold something that just happened. And that's what we do a lot of times as writers, isn't it? If you have time today or even this weekend, see if you can write a story about something that you've been doing over the weekend, or maybe on one of the days that we've had on this long break. Think of what happened in the beginning, in the middle, and the end, like we've done in classroom before when we've been writing in our own journals, and tell someone your story. Share it with me if you'd like in the media album or in the Google photo album that I'm going to share with you guys this weekend. I would love to hear any stories that you have to share with me or to read them. I would love that. So you guys have a great day. Have fun learning. I hope you enjoy the activities. I'm getting some good science experiments ready for you for next week. So I hope you enjoy your day and have a wonderful weekend this weekend coming up. Bye, everyone.